Hey everybody, Johnathan Dugan, Coldwell Banker Professionals. I'm here with my friend Rob Luke. He's with BGM Insurance. They are a local insurance agency here on Hill Road in Fenton. And he's an independent agent. And we're going to talk about homeowners insurance today. So, as a real estate agent, I help people buy and sell their home. When they go to buy a home, we get through all this exciting process, and then all of a sudden, the mortgage company is like, "You need homeowners insurance." I'm not an insurance agent, so Rob, can you just give us a little bit of insight as to, hey, how does a homeowner in that situation make sure they got a competitive price and some good coverage as they go into owning a new home?
Yeah, absolutely. When you reach out to, the insurance agent, I think it's a really good idea to maybe have a copy of your current auto insurance policy handy. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before, but there's some really substantial discounts for packaging or bundling auto and home insurance with virtually every, insurance company on the market. So if you're reaching out, for a home insurance, proposal or quote, if you have that auto insurance policy handy, it will, allow the agent to, put a great package proposal together for you. And, we're looking at, maybe between 20 and 30% discounts, on the home insurance side of things that could certainly make a big difference when it comes to your monthly mortgage expense.
That's great. It's sort of counterintuitive. I'm buying a house, but I need my auto, insurance policy with me. So, it's not the first thing people are thinking about.
I also want to add auto insurance rates absolutely differ per zip code. Believe it or not, they can differ within the same zip code at separate addresses.
Wow.
So it's a really great idea to just get a full scope of what your, complete or total auto and home insurance expense is truly going to look like after closing.
That's awesome. That's great information. And I never really thought about it that way. I know we hear about it a lot. Oh, the people in different cities or whatever, they're getting charged for insurance, but I didn't know that it can be address dependent. So that's great information to have. And if you're moving from one place to another, you could be saving money from what I'm hearing, not just on homeowners but on your auto. So
Oh,
that's good to know.
well, absolutely. And on top of that, I oftentimes run across first time home buyers who have auto insurance and renter's insurance currently. Typically, there's a maybe a little larger discount for packaging in auto and home insurance together. So that can also be a driving factor to help keep your total expense down.
That's great. That's good to know. All right. Great information, Rob. I really appreciate that. So we've gotten through the process. We're excited about our new home. We've got this homeowners policy, right? And it's a bunch of paper. It's a bunch of words. But what is it that people should be looking for just to make sure that they've got the right coverage?
I think it's really important for first time homeowners, especially, to understand the difference between market value,
Which
what
is
the
what I do, market value. That's what I do.
well, and Jonathan can certainly explain, but what the home or property is being bought or sold for,
Right.
versus replacement value. Replacement value is what it would cost to rebuild a similar structure from scratch, including debris removal, materials, labor, the whole nine yards in a hyperinflated market. So I guess the point there is just make sure that your home is adequately insured on a replacement cost basis.
So yeah, so what I hear you saying is, maybe you paid $200,000 for that home on the market, but depending on the home and the size of the home, that might not be enough if you had a total loss to put you back whole as far as having that whole house back.
You're absolutely hitting the nail on the head.
Right. Well, that's why you're the expert. I'm learning things. I'm learning things. I think that's great. That's great advice. So, um, speaking of that, speaking of home changes, working on changes and whatever, I learned something interesting. I met with Rob and we were working on my insurance, and Rob asked me, well, how old's your roof? And I said, oh, we got a roof replaced last year, and I didn't know, but you said, oh, well, I got to let the insurance company know. So, what are some things as you're owning a home? If you do the work, what's some examples of some things that you want to let your insurance agent know, because that may help you in the long run as far as costs or even just your insurance in general.
Yeah. Home updates can certainly offset the cost of home insurance. If your roof has been replaced somewhat recently, it's a really great idea to let your insurance professional know, because there can be some substantial discounts, especially if it was replaced within the last maybe 5 or 6 years, somewhere right in that ballpark. Plumbing, electrical, heating and cooling, whole home generators can certainly uh, provide some pretty good discounts on the home insurance side of things. And the reasoning behind that is, if the power goes out, you have a automatic generator to kick in and make sure that your sump pump keeps running, or God forbid the power goes out in the middle of the winter. Keep the furnace going to make sure that those pipes don't freeze and cause some major damage.
Yeah, and when you own a home, when you buy a home, you've got big dreams, right? Some of us can walk into a home that looks like a disaster and be like, "Oh, this is what I want to do," or some of us want the fresh, clean, it's ready to go. But I don't think people think, I need a new roof. Let me call Rob and let him know I got one. So you may be sitting out there right now and you might not even have bought anything new. But if you're thinking about doing some of these renovations, and I know those home generators, very popular, and people are trying to get them, or very popular when selling your house, also has a good resale value. That's a great point, and I don't think people think about that from that perspective. They just want the heat to stay on. They want the fridge not to melt down. They want the comfort,
Absolutely,
right? And they don't
absolutely.
know that there's ripples, which is really cool. So
Yeah, and Johnathan, you're absolutely hitting the nail on the head. Even if you're not in the process of purchasing, a home or a property, a really great idea to let your insurance professional, agent, agency, whoever your contact person is, about the recent updates, because you could receive a bit of a discount, on the home insurance policy.
awesome, awesome. All right. So that's great information to have. As not just as you're living in your home, but as you're improving your home, you have some opportunities not only to, make it a nicer place to live, but you can also benefit from some discounts from talking to your local insurance agent. One of the things I really enjoy about Rob, and I don't say this about most insurance people, is that Rob is a deep dive guy. He's got it in and out. He's in the weeds. He knows what's going on. Yeah, I feel like I can present him with information, and he is going to just take care of it. He knows the ins and outs of it. And that being said, we can't really go ins and outs forever, but or maybe another time. You never know. That being said, when somebody is considering their insurance options, Rob, what's kind of the big picture thing that you want people to know, so that they're informed consumers.
Absolutely. I think it's really important for anybody who's looking around for the most competitive auto and home insurance package possible to talk or reach on out to an independent insurance agent. Independent insurance agents partner with anywhere between maybe 5 and 50 different insurance carriers.
It's a lot.
The fact of the matter is, certain people, certain homes, certain vehicles, um, in certain situations line up better with certain insurance companies. When I take a look at an auto and home insurance package for somebody, I'm putting a lot of time and effort into, truly trying to find something that makes all the sense in the world.
I think that's great. I think so. Basically, what you're saying is, as a consumer, if you come to an independent broker, you have the ability to really dive in deep and search out a whole bunch of policies. And how is that different from, what is that different from? Is that, what do they call the other style of
Yeah,
agencies?
those are considered captive insurance agencies, and,
Okay.
and captive insurance agencies they do a great job, but at the end of the day, they have one insurance policy to offer, and that insurance policy, might be a really great policy for certain folks in certain areas with certain vehicles and certain sized homes. So
So it might not fit everybody's needs. And instead of me having to call, the farmers insurance of the world or the progressive insurances of the world per se, instead I can call you, and you can go to town because you're already plugged into all of that, and you can
yeah,
do a rainbow, or you can say you need to go with all of this. You can really
yeah,
piece it out.
absolutely. And Jonathan, I respect anybody that wants to cover their bases and make sure that they're getting all of their options. I mean, I do the same thing in most purchasing situations, but as a broker or an independent agent, we can typically take a lot of the legwork out of the equation for you.
That's awesome. I think that's great. um, So, Rob, I really appreciate you doing this, and I highly recommend your service. I personally have had it, and honestly, I've been one of those people who just whatever I had to do to make the mortgage company happy, or not get a ticket, or whatever it was. That's really where my head was at. But when sitting with you and talking to you, you were able to explain things to me in a way that you were like, hey, this is helping you. If you do this, this will help you. Stop doing that. You might keep this, but in the future, think about doing this. And to have somebody looking out for you a little bit, I think is what community is about. I think that's how I try to treat my customers when I'm trying to help them buy a house,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like you treated me that way. So if people have questions, they want to give you a call, they see this video and they're like, "Oh man, that makes a lot of sense." What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way to reach me is my cell phone, 810 Also, we have the agency phone number, which is 810-244-9200. Just call in and ask to talk with Rob.
Awesome. Don't call his cell phone after hours. That's not cool. Now, I'm a real estate agent, so people just call me whenever they want. I don't know. People shop houses at 1 o'clock in the morning. Do they shop insurance at 1 o'clock in the morning? I
Uh, they might, but I dive in the next morning, to be honest.
okay. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for doing this. I hope we can do it again.
Anytime.
I think this will be very informative. If you guys need anything or you lose any of that, get a hold of me. I'll get you in contact with Rob. And as we work through the process, we're going to learn a lot more. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. I'll have my weekly update out there. And I'm hoping to drop a video about first time home buyers and things that you can be on the lookout for when you're going to make that first purchase. So be good to each other, be good to your neighbor, and remember, everybody's your neighbor.
Have a great rest of the week, guys.